All right, everybody. Again, I'd like to say welcome to the 2023 State of the City. As a chamber president, I know there's a lot of work that goes into organizing this. We'd like to thank all of you for coming out to listen to what the mayor and his wife have to say about what we've accomplished in the last year and what we're going to accomplish in the next year, or goals that they have set. Teresa Wolf, one of our chamber members and embers, did a great job. I'd like to give them a round of applause for organizing this. As usual, Teresa and our executive director, Annette Parker, who happens to be upstairs, did a great job. She is down here now? Oh, Annette, thank you. Good job coordinating this with Steve and Wendy. All of the audio and video for today is set up by Skip and his company, Clark Graphics. So that's why we're able to, while it seems like we're jammed in down here, there's another 100 people upstairs. So great job providing the graphics and the sound for today. Everything that the chamber does is due to your support and the support of some great sponsors from our community. You see their names in many things that happen around the community. It's on the board over here also. We have Homer Tree, then we have Baxter Woodman, Citgo, V3, we have Christopher Burke Engineering, Express Medical, HR Green, Joliet Junior College, and Country Financial. So a lot of the things that we have happen because of them and your participation, so thank you. As part of the chamber, we're here to promote businesses inside of our community. I think today's event brings everybody together, from the schools, emergency services, police and fire, the park district, and business owners, to listen to what's going on in the community, because just like us, we all have interest in what happens. So with that being said, we're going to start the presentation, and we'll bring up the Summer Art Series Director, Wendy Stripe.
Well, thank you guys for coming out today. We really appreciate it. We feel very fortunate to have you guys join us. Okay, so we definitely want to get you guys excited about this summer and what that means for you as business owners, for those of you that are part of our Lockport community. We have so many wonderful things that are going to be happening. I was told that everyone felt like this is the most we've ever done in a year. So when I'm done, you guys tell me if you think so. The first thing that I want to highlight for you is our Illuminate project, which we're very excited about. And those of you that might have already gotten a sneak peek on March at our you were able to see the layout for Illuminate. It is a projection, a light installation that we put onto the side of our State Museum building, and it will be open to the public April 21st from dusk until midnight, Thursdays through Sundays. You can, I gotta tell you secretly, you need to know this, probably the best view in the whole city is on Ember's back porch. So between the wonderful food you've got here, it is worth coming back for that special opportunity to sit up there and be able to see the presentation of Illuminate. We have a wonderful artist that we hired through the Summer Art Series. His name is Eric Fisher. He also has done artwork for us in the past with the Ducks, and he also was part of our movie project that we did. And he not only created an original piece called The History of the Canal for Lockport. It's about 6-7 minutes, but he also lent to us the Umbrella Men, which is another piece that he created, which is super beautiful to look at and super interesting. So I encourage you guys to come out April 21st for the ribbon cutting. It is going to be a really wonderful night. We were also very blessed to get a $30,000 grant as well, which means that we're going to be getting more artwork that'll be created, but it'll focus the big celebration that's coming up for that. So that's something to look forward to as well. As we keep moving forward, Old Canal Days is coming up June 8th through the 11th. We ask you to put that on your calendar. And it's special, more special than usual, because it's our 50th anniversary of Old Canal Days. Believe it or not, our canal was in such disrepair of a mess, it was considered, they didn't even know it was a canal. This is 50 years ago, and it was so lost and such a mess that people just thought it was a drainage ditch. And we had a lovely group of people that had enough vision to try to rescue the canal, clean it up, and then to celebrate it, they started Old Canal Days. So that's just a little side story for you guys, but I hope you'll come out and join us. It is in the new area on our new property. It works out so wonderfully. And of course, our Lockport Women's Club is running the craft show again, and people absolutely love that. They do such a good job curating that for the community and for our visitors. So we hope that you'll check that out. Fridays in the Park is going to be back, and Gallery 7 is heading that up. Please put on your calendars June 2nd, July 7th, August 4th, and September 8th. We are going to have musical groups each Friday night on those dates on the public landing. If you've not attempted to come out for one of those events, it's not only beautiful because you're on the public landing, but it's we have a nice open bar area. If you're feeling really fancy, you can actually, that is one of the best kept secrets, is you can sit on that patio out there at the public landing. It's gorgeous, and you get your meal delivered to you, and you get the band. So it's perfect. I encourage you guys to check that out. Our city murals, if you guys haven't noticed them yet, they are up and they are gorgeous. We're very grateful to Homer Tree, again sponsoring one of the murals, which can be seen on Uncle Richie's up 9th Street. Also on 9th Street in the corner there where the Allstate building is, just down this area here. Coming up the hill, you'll see another beautiful mural that Bentonhausen paid for, which we are incredibly grateful for. And then we have another mural actually coming to the side of this building, which is a celebration of the I&M Canal. It's the 175th year. This is going to be, the mural will be right up here on the side of Embers. So coming soon, coming soon. We have a brand new building that was built in the downtown, which is amazing feat in itself. And along that new building is an alley area, which, as you know, the Summer Art Series can't help itself. If there's a place to put art, we're going to do it. So we took advantage of this opportunity, and we are working with the building owner, and we are also working with the H&A committees, and we are going to be getting new artwork displayed through the alleyway. It'll have beautiful lighting. We're hoping to, we're working right now with the high school so that our students will have a place to display, and it's going to be an ongoing, changing display. So we're looking forward to getting our kids involved in our community in the arts, which are incredibly important to us. Steampunk Lincoln is going to return. He has been a bit on a hiatus. He's like the original foam statue that we fundraised for, and the Homer Tree people helped pay for that, which we are incredibly grateful to them. But he was not in the best shape, and we are now getting him made out of a new material that includes some fiberglass and some special coating on him, and he'll probably last for at least 20, 25 years, we're hoping. And this one is actually going to light up and have smoke. So I think he will definitely have some really wonderful Instagrammable moments on the Lincoln Landing, where he will be coming back out to visit the community and those thousands of cars that pass by us on that bridge. So look for Lincoln. I would say midsummer, he'll be a nice little surprise waiting for us. If you have not checked out our story walk yet, you need to. The White Oak Library has had this vision for years now and have wanted to do, and we are so excited that the city was able to partner with them and the Summer Art Series, and we were able to get this to happen. You start the story walk right in front of our White Oak Library in downtown Lockport, and then you just take a nice little stroll around our city hall, and it'll take you all the way through the story. It's a really lovely, nice afternoon that takes about, I would say, 15, 20 minutes with your kids or with your friends, but you should check it out. It is going to be changing seasonally, and when we have special events, we'll have a very special one for Comicopoulos that's going to be coming up as well. But do check it out. Take the kids, take the grandkids, take the neighbor kids, but we really want everyone to enjoy it. This is another project that I have wanted to do for such a long time. And we finally were able to make the right connections with the VFW, and we are now going to have our own hometown hero banners. So the exciting news is we have 30 banner places that can go up on our light fixtures throughout the downtown here, our historic downtown. And all the money that is raised will go to pay for the banners, and any extra money just goes directly to the VFW. I don't know if you know this, but the Summer Art Series isn't into making lots of money. All we want to do is stay in the black and then give back to whoever we can. So this is an exciting project that we are finally going to make happen. We've already sold 13 banners, so do the math. We have 17 left that you guys can purchase if you're interested, and I'm going to show you guys how to do that before you leave today, because I cannot wait to see these displayed. They'll come out Memorial Day. We'll have a ribbon cutting and a small event that'll go along with it on Memorial Day, and they'll stay up through Veterans Day. The Roxy Theater graciously is working with us. We've been wanting to show more movies and integrate that more into the city. The Roxy has done an excellent job at being open to our community, and we appreciate that very much. I don't know if you've noticed, but they have full-piece orchestras over there, and they're doing full dance lessons, and there are people from all over coming to the Roxy Theater. And we've incorporated some of that into our movie nights, but our movie nights will start on May 26th. And if you guys are interested in a sponsorship of one of these movies, I'll show you where you can scan for that. We've tried really hard to provide opportunities for businesses to make it an affordable opportunity to advertise your business at very, I think, reasonable price points, so you have a variety of things to choose from. Should I be worried? Is this thing working? I don't know. Am I okay still, Skip? Okay, okay. But do put your dates here on your calendar. For the most part, we have a children's or family type movie earlier in the day, and then at night there's more of an adult that way. It's not naughty. It's not naughty. But it's supposed to be more family oriented, and then maybe more date night. Date night. How's that? I don't know. But do check that out. We're already selling tickets. We sold 14 tickets for the Christmas show. So I highly encourage you to get in there. We have 100 tickets available. The prices are cheap. They're like a couple dollars. We wanted it to be inexpensive so that everyone could afford to go, even if you were the Colarellis. I don't know if Pete's here, because what are they? Yeah, they have the whole 10 kids. Okay. White Oak Library is also sponsoring their Comicopoulos. This is a massively successful event that brings in almost 2,000 people from all over the areas. It's a really exciting opportunity for our kids to come on down. It's totally free. It's July 29th. Put it on your calendars. We are bringing in the Jurassic Park Jeep, and to go along with it, we also have, I believe we're showing the Jurassic Park movie. But we're also bringing back the DeLorean, and for those of you that remember the classic 80s movie, what is it? Back to the Future. That's our DeLorean that's coming. But we highly encourage you guys to check this out. And then I'm going to talk about some sponsorship opportunities for this in just a minute as well. And then Cruising into Lockport is going to return. I don't know about you guys, but I have missed a particular musical group that we used to always have in the past. It was the Neverly Brothers. And they're going to be our opening show on June 5th. So if that name means anything to you, because it means something to me, I am super excited. So I put that on my calendar right away, but I encourage all of you to do so. It is a really fun night of fabulous cars and fabulous music and fabulous food, because lots of stuff pops up. Embers does some special food events, and so does the studio, but everybody around town has something going on that's worth checking out. The Rotary Club is doing their annual coffin races, so if you guys are interested in that, it's October 14th up and down on Hamilton Street. That drives out a lot of people, and it's a really fun afternoon. Spooky Night Out is coming up. This is September 16th. You need to come out for this. If you have not done this, this is fun. I am not a haunted house person, I admit, but I love this event. And you get to go through the haunted house, but they don't have all the people that are scaring you. So you get to see the amazing setup that they have in there. It is state of the art. It's really incredible. And I'll tell you what I told every person that came to the table when we were working the booth last weekend at C2E2. It's the #1 haunted house in Illinois. It's #3 in the United States. It's worth checking it out. This is an adult event. It's over 21. It is a lot of fun. And you will probably, there's some people up there you probably know and don't even realize it's them. People go all out for their costumes. It's for everybody, not just like Joliet has its Witches Night Out. This is for guys and gals, so everybody can come out for this. But the tickets go quickly, and it is going to be a lot of fun. There's food trucks there, but you guys need to check it out. And it also is sponsored by the Lockport Women's Club, which every dime those ladies raise goes right back into our community. It is a worthy cause, and it's just a lot of fun. All right, so here's what I'm going to have you guys do. you have this card, I believe, on your table. And for those of you that are interested in sponsoring any of these events, you can take your phones, open the camera, and you can just scan the code. Because I'm not going to tell you who it is in this room, but there is an adult in here that thought you still had to use the QR code to scan it, and you can just use your camera. In case you didn't know that, so you walked away with a piece of information today. So you can scan it, and it will take you right to any one of these sponsorships and give you guys the opportunity to take a look at what you might be interested in sponsoring. If you want to be a part of it, you want your name on it, you want to be advertised, and ultimately, people are going to see this. And these are all wonderful things that people enjoy. There, like I said, there's a price point for everybody, I believe. Just take a look at it if you're interested. We have our new lovely event planner. Her name is Allison. She is here. Allison, will you raise your hand over there? She's right over here towards the front. If you need me to introduce her to you, I will gladly do so. But that's her email, that's her phone number, or I will personally introduce you to her, and she will help you walk through any of this if you've got any questions. Or you're welcome to come see me as well. So now I am going to pass this off to the man of the hour, Mayor Streit, and he's going to tell you all the fabulous things that are happening and have happened in Lockport.
Well, thank you, Wendy. And, I just want to thank the whole Summer Art Series group. I mean, these guys, you can see how tirelessly they work. It's just a lot of effort goes into all those events. And so thank you very much, all of you guys, for doing that. So thank you to the Chamber for hosting this. We always appreciate the opportunity. I just want to go through some specific names for our elected officials here in the city. Who everything that's interesting that's happening in town, I really want to thank our staff. So, Alderman Kostaki, Alderman Karras, J.R. Galogly, Pat McDonald, who's been with us for a few months now, Christine Bergbauer, Mark Lobes, Joanne Bartleson, and then, of course, our clerk, Kathleen, Treasurer Dave Pillay. I specifically just want to say thank you to those officials. I feel like I'm getting a lot of feedback. Is it the steel plate in my head? I don't know what that is.
Wendy was soft-spoken.
She was. So in the meantime, I'll just talk like this. So, and our staff too. Nothing happens without our staff, right? Elected officials, we just smile and wave. But it's really the elected our staff members that make it happen. So thank you, Ben, Lance, Lisa, Rich, Sonny, Brent, Brittany, Allison now, and Donna. Well, again, without staff, nothing happens. So thank you very much. And I also want to just say thank you to. Yes. Yeah, anyone who's worked with any of our folks knows just how good they are. And then, of course, I just want to say thank you to all our other elected officials. We have township officials, we have school board members, we have library board members, all of you. Thank you for being here today, and thank you for being part of everything that happens here in town. And we'll show some of that stuff here in a second. But, without the partnerships that happen with those organizations and without the volunteer organizations as well. I mean, all these folks, whether it's the Legion or the folks at the Moose or the Boy Scouts, everyone plays a part. Nothing cool happens in this city without the other elected officials. So thank you, everyone, for all of that. All right, just a few specifics I'll go into. I like to focus on the Park District. They do a lot of really great things. The number 25 ranked in the universe disc golf course. Yeah, that's right, I said it. Hell's Gate's got top ratings all over the place. They've got a whole bunch of things going on, whether it's the Military History Weekend, the Hayride of Horror, Not So Scary Hayride. A couple new things, though. They got some new pickleball courts coming out. They're going to open in June 10th. And then they also have it's kind of hard to see it here, but in the bottom here, we've got, I don't know if I could blow that up. No, I just screwed it up. But in the bottom there is some stuff with their new driving range that they're going to have over at Prairie Bluff. They'll also have some simulators in there too. So really looking forward to what those guys have going on over at the Park District. So thank everybody over there. Another group I'd just like to talk about is highlight our high school. You know, one of the things that we did for a few years ago, COVID kind of screwed things up and some other stuff, but we had a really good mentor program going on where we had students come in and kind of shadow city employees or city staff or elected officials. So now that I know the Park District has some good people in place now, they're going to really help bring that back and also work within the business community. I can't tell you how important this is. It's one thing to be able to just share and show what you're doing as an elected official, but I mean, people don't understand that city administration's a real job. Working at the water treatment plant is a really good, high-paying job, and we all need folks for that, even being building inspectors. It's getting harder and harder to find folks to fill those jobs. So we look forward to being able to partner with the high school and get people to see what opportunities there are as well. But they've had 197 students recognized this year for AP Scholars with distinction. That's like, there's a lot of AP students, but this is like, you know, going to Top Gun, right? This is like the best of the best. So 197 students there. They had 10 seniors for National Merit Commendation, 6 seniors for the National Hispanic Recognition Award from the College Board. Robotics clubs going to the World Championships in April, Color Guard Championships. Girls bowling, again, win state championship. Just amazing there. And also, I got a couple teachers I wanted to call out. Mr. Corey Dunson is from the National Engineering Teacher of the Year. That's fantastic. And then there's Don McKillop, who, I get these crazy initials, right? The ISHCDEA. It's actually the driver's ed guy, right? Is Bob here? Big Brad, Bob, you in here? So, Bob, so I actually think that award should go to every one of those teachers that gets in the car with a bunch of kids, right? Special badge, hazardous duty pay. So all those things. But we have a wonderful high school, and all the feeder schools that send kids to that school just make it special. They also have that great Best Buddies program, which I can't say enough. For special needs kids, people actually move here because of the high school has really great programming for special needs kids. And the L-Town Grounds has been part of that, giving them an opportunity. And also just want to thank all the students for all the community service and the 205 Foundation for all that they've been doing. Especially they started an event last year to raise money, and that was, you know, a great first attempt at doing events. It's hard to do events, but I know that they just keep plugging away and doing stuff. So thank you to the high school. So I also want to talk a little bit about the White Oak Library. You know, one of the things, we partner with them a lot and try to help with different projects. But one of the things that, you know, when they do the events over at, for Comicopoulos, we were looking at, the biggest expense to that is renting the tent. So we've been working with them on a grant so that we can do a covered pavilion. This pavilion here is one that me and Wendy always see when we go to South Haven. We're like, we got to cover the library parking lot with that thing. So if we can find the grant money, we're working right now with Dewberry Engineering. They're going to architectural firm to try to figure out how to make this work. And yeah, so that way when these crowds come, you know, we have a place to keep them out of the sun. So thank you working together with the library. It's a lot of fun. So there's just a few of the partnerships I wanted to highlight there. So let's get into some city stuff. So talk about our finances first, keeping our AA+ credit rating by Standard & Poor's. It's always very impressive. You know, I think for a town our size, that is actually pretty much the highest rating you can get. Lisa continues to bring in a GFOA Financial Excellence Awards for recognition for the 12th year in a row, Distinguished Budget Award for the 8th year in a row. You know, in our capital projects coming up this year, they're $19.6 million we have budgeted for capital this year. And we'll talk a little bit about what those projects are in a minute. But, you know, since we started the CIP, the Capital Improvement Plan, we've spent $118 million in the city of Lockport to improve roads, improve our water, add new wells. All these things are just a testament to our hardworking staff, and thank you also for our elected officials. There was a time when elected officials wouldn't spend a penny on anything because they couldn't agree. So having a cooperative council, being able to move forward with these things, it's essential. You know, just still the bulk of our general fund revenues come from real estate taxes, but we are starting to see that lower. One of the things that have been going on that's really nice is our sales tax revenues keep going up, and the higher they go up, the lower we need to pull in from property taxes. So last year we had 3.8 million in 2022. So we're projected to make up 23% of our budget in general revenues, hopefully by next year. So, and I'll also say that was one of the slides that the high school district put on, but I didn't have room for it. But they've also steadily decreased their property tax rate. So just as we, for these last number, were able to lower the property tax rate, and that's good, and the high school's been following suit with that, as some of the other taxing bodies as well. So, you know, reducing our property tax reliance is really important for livability. So next thing we'll talk a little bit about is public safety. So we have our police and fire departments. You know, our Lockport Police Department is just, it's really special. I mean, these guys do a wonderful job keeping the community safe and also just interacting with the community. We've always said we want a department that is integrated into the community, doesn't feel separate from the community, and, you know, under the leadership of Rich and Ron, that has actually happened. And some of the senior officers here, like Rizzy, and all this is what makes it happen. Last year they managed over 22,000 incidents. I mean, that's a lot of calls, right? You add that up, man. They do their traffic campaigns throughout the year, whether it's on like St. Patrick's Day or you know, New Year's. They kind of above and beyond what they normally do. They're out there making sure traffic is safe. Thank you to Sicko for a $5,000 grant for a digital speed sign. They've also started with the Youth Citizens Academy. Again, also important, trying to mentor up young people to see what opportunities are out there, because a lot of times people just don't, and until they get involved in it in this kind of way, they don't see it. Community unity event they've been doing, the Special Olympics, they raised, you know, it was $22,000 last year for Special Olympics. It's amazing. They do the haunted squad cars, they shop with a cop, they're involved in the coffin races, they're at Spooky Night Out. They also work with the Lockport Resource Center to do the bicycle program. These are bikes that have either been abandoned or people donate, making sure every kid who wants a bike has a bike. So they work to fix them up and get them repaired. And then, of course, there's Lockport Love, right? A great legacy left by Chief Lemming that's been carried on by the department today, which just really goes out into the community and makes people feel welcome and loved. And I can't say enough about our police department. Thank you, folks. Appreciate it. So then our fire districts also do a lot of amazing stuff. You know, while we don't have direct oversight of the fire districts, we're just so grateful that they look out for us. You know, we have 3 overlapping fire districts: the Lockport Township Fire, Homer Township, and Northwest Homer Township. Fire departments all look after the residents, you and me here in this city. I know just the Lockport Township alone had 11,000 calls last year. They've been working with our building department closely for safety. They make sure you know, helping with inspections. They've been still partnering us with sprinkler grants to make sure that all our older buildings, you know, when we can retrofit them, that we give opportunities. So we're very grateful for the fire departments for helping with those grants. They too have a cadet program, mentor program that's going on to try to train up young people. They've done an ID bracelet program, which is really interesting. It's to help people, you know, maybe they've got Alzheimer's or they're lost, disoriented, unresponsive. This has all the information that they need. So they've been working with the PD and Lockport Township and Westcom to make that happen. Doing a big special needs focus in 2023, training citizens and their own department to help, you know, just kind of, you know, running into people with autism to help de-escalate situations. So those kind of training things are very important. And we just thank them for being involved in all the community events, right? The Silver Cross Honor Wives, K&R programs, and they drive the big truck out there for Lockport Love. So all those things are really important for that community integration for our fire folks, and we're very, very grateful and thankful for that. So next thing we'll talk a little bit about is our capital projects. As I mentioned earlier, we've got 19.6 million excuse me, of capital projects scheduled for 2023. I've got a list up here. You know, it's a lot of road reconstruction and water main and sewer reconstruction. And when we tear the roads up, it's time to kind of do all that. We've done an amazing job in the old sections of town for the last 10 years. Really just these are just the last few streets really of stuff that needs to have replacement. But it's very expensive, but it's been necessary, and it's really nice to be able to drive through the old parts of town without hitting every pothole in the world. We still got to deal with IDOT's road, the state roads, right? They don't always get to it, but even our guys will go out there and patch holes until IDOT can come and fix the roads that they're responsible for. Also going to be doing over 5 miles of road resurfacing. These are really important. One of the reasons why our roads in the old downtown got so bad for a long time was because they just didn't do the maintenance. So resurfacing the newer neighborhoods when it's necessary and when it's time on a schedule is really, really important so that we don't run into just catastrophic problems with the road. So I thank Brent and the Public Works Department for staying on those resurfacing projects. Some other things going on, surface maintenance. There's we're going to do a citywide tree survey so that it helps us with our tree canopy, know what needs to be replaced, know if there's diseased trees. The Brick Street lift station begins this spring. That'll add almost 2 MGDs. It's like millions of gallons or something. But it'll really help with being able to process at our Division Street plant sewage and runoff. There's the Route 7. You may have seen some of the utility starting to already happen along Route 7. Oh man, I can't walk around. I just want to walk around, but I can't. But you'll notice that they started doing utility work. By 2024, we should begin doing this center lane, so there'll be a turn lane on Route 7. We're really hoping that keeps flow moving over the bridge and through town as opposed to everybody waiting and getting backed up because somebody's making a left turn in a toughie, right? So that channelization should really help. But you'll start seeing the work happening already. And they'll start designing for 2024 projects coming up. Some stuff with the bike paths. You guys remember this slide from last year? They were just starting the Veterans Memorial Trail, but we did a ribbon cutting recently, so that is now open. That's been a really fun project. Sorry, these upper slides got to catch up. So that's the one tunnel. They put this tunnel underneath, Division Street, which is really cool. But it's a really nice path. I know Ben and I got to get the e-bikes out, man, and we got to go take a ride. So we've been waiting to do that. Now that it's nice out, we don't have any excuse. So thank you to the Forest Preserve and the Tollway and MI Homes, and even Bo Jackson's helped out by giving us some of the right-of-way on their property to make that happen. Other bike stuff that's going on, you guys remember doing a connection between Lewis University and Romeoville up and over the High Bridge to get into Lockport. So we all worked together, the three of us, to come up with the design. So that's great, but here's something weird that happened. So IDOT tells them to do a bridge deck replacement in 2028, which is great. 2028, prepare yourselves for the bridge to be out for a while. But they were starting to do their own bike path, engineering, and we're like, guys, don't do it. But we've already got it done. So Ben and I were in Springfield the other day, and we're just trying to tell IDOT, like, look, you don't have to do this twice. We've already got the engineering, so it's funny that these are the kind of things you got to appeal to your elected representatives in Springfield for, is like, not spending double money, but we did go hit up some of our representatives and see if we can't get IDOT to use the work that's already been done. And we also like the work that's done because it connects both east and west on the sides of the bridge that both cities, I think, will benefit everybody. That other connection we talked a little bit about was the 135th Street connection. So this is, Romeoville and Lockport and Lamont have a really cool, interesting connection. And, between all the interesting stuff, whether it's the disc golf course or the haunted house or Delwood Park, and there's Isla Cache in Romeoville, they got the Forge and all those other really interesting things going on in the Lamont. They have a really great bicycle connection. All three of us, mayors, Noka Dagofsky, we all agree on the importance. And so the two holdups have been getting back across the canal in Lamont, which they're working on getting that bridge done. And then there was that little bit of, it gets confusing at 135th Street. So Citgo has been working with us to make that happen. And, right underneath that bridge, we've got a little mural going on, which we even got the artwork for the mural. We put that together. So, yeah, so Citgo's very, very grateful for that. But Oh yeah, I gotta let them all catch up. Sorry, a little delay there. So, you feel motivated when you see that. Ben's got kind eyes, so you don't feel like you're really being harassed. But okay, I'll get a move on. So that's been a great project. Again, working with partners. This is all about partnerships. It's all about working together. So, thankful to Lewis, Romaville, Sitco. The Quiet Zone update. I know this is like the Swallows returning to Capistrano. I say this every year that we're going to have a quiet zone. Actually, July 1st, we should have a quiet zone on the Burlington Northern track. So that will silence 65 trains. Granted, it's not the CN. We're still working on that one, but at least the West Side residents won't be woken up all night. I know sometimes people are like, oh, I like the trains. I think you're going to like it better when you don't hear them. So that's coming along, and we're really excited to see that happen. We are still plugging along, though, on the 8th Street ped gates will go in this year. Next year, there'll be ped gates at 13th Street. All these things have to go in before we can get a quiet zone done. This is really what's required. A lot of people say, just put a sign up that says don't honk your horn. But it doesn't work that way. You have to have the safety equipment in place. So we're still moving forward on Canadian National, but we should actually see it happen this year. On Burlington Northern. Another update is the Lock 1 stabilization. Been very concerned that this will one day collapse like our Seven Arches Bridge did. There was a lot of trees and stuff growing in it. Our Public Works helped to get some of that stuff out, working with the Park District folks as well. But we did do the engineering, and we did send this off to IDNR, who has to fund it. We found out when Ben and I were in Springfield, they're like, oh yeah, it's number 46 on our list of things to do. Like 46, you guys are going to be really sad if that thing collapses and the whole town gets flooded during a storm, because if that plugs up, there's nowhere for the water to go. So we did pressure them there, but Ben, brought up the fact that the feds put $10 million into projects along the I&M Canal, and making sure we let IDNR know about that. They said, oh, well, if that's going to happen, we'll move the project right up to number 1. So we're going to continue to work with them to try to access that federal money so we can get that lock just, restored and just not a functional lock, but at least it won't look like it's going to collapse, with some freeze-thaw problems. So that's kind of some updates on our infrastructure. I'm going to jump over to just a few initiatives. We do a lot of initiatives in town. In fact, one of the things that Ben had to put a giant whiteboard in his office, because I'm always going in there and say, Ben, I got an idea, right? So it's covered, right? This is, Lance's sticky note board. There's always 1,000 different things that we go in there and we're trying to get done. But I'll just focus on 3 ones that are kind of interesting. One of them is America in Bloom. Back in the spring, last spring, Wendy and I went to St. Louis for an America in Bloom conference. And, we took a little ride over to Washington, Missouri, and they did a lot of great things with native plantings. And, we just kind of came back and we wanted to explore this a little bit. You'll notice everybody's lawn by, July will be brown, because, the root systems are so low. But native plantings that for the Midwest, they have that deep, deep root system. That's why they survive on their own. And so we wanted to explore options for doing native plantings in yards. Now, I know when I say that, there's going to be a few of you that are like, not my lawn, those are weeds. Don't let people plant weeds, right? So I get the big lawn people. But what we're trying to do is find ways that can we do it where there's like a small percentage, where it has to be properly landscaped. These are all the things that we're exploring. And Alderman Bergbauer has, she's really been driving this for us. I'm very thankful for it. She's been exploring it. What are the right, and working with Berry Landscaping and others to say, what exactly are those plants? What should the percentages be? How can we make this look so that saving water and bringing back native plants. Actually, this blueprint picture is a spot on City Hall property that we thought once we have this established, that will actually do an area that has these native plantings in it so people can come and say, these are the plants that you can put in your yard. The high school was willing to work with us too, with our horticultural groups, to say we can even get seedlings or we can get saplings for some of these plants so that they could be planted in the yard. But it's still a ways off, but I want to thank you, Christine, for really driving this for us and exploring ways to just think differently with our yards and our hellscapes too along the roadways. Hellscapes are those corners on state routes that really take a beating. So looking at ways to maintain them where they don't need tons of water. Another initiative, that homeowner associations. So staff had their first homeowner association meeting where they brought in board members from the HOAs. And the main thing that we were struggling with in recent times is finding out a lot of times, HOAs, they have turnover on their boards, and suddenly they find out that they're responsible for things, right? They're responsible for a retention pond and the maintenance of it within that development, or a creek that goes through it, or a bike path. That's part of their covenant, but they don't realize that. And so really having staff meet annually now with HOAs to kind of help them, so if there's turnover, that they can encourage them to have a capital fund that they can put money into so that they're not suddenly surprised with a $150,000 fix. Instead, they can start budgeting it for it. So I thought it was a good initiative that we just start meeting annually with those folks. And then, of course, there's a bunch of other things too, whether it's the at your door, recycling with waste management, get rid of all your paint and those kind of toxic stuff. And there's other recycling too, even like clothes. A lot of clothes we encourage you to bring SD. You don't want to even get them to the resource center, right? Then we have other groups here that will come to your door and just pick that stuff, and then they'll repurpose them for other things. So yeah, those really gross sheets that, that's the best place for them, not the resource center. Yeah. So another initiative too is downtown parking, right? So we all know the struggles with and the perception problems with parking in the downtown. So yeah, that's a picture I took this morning. Parking at 7 a.m. on a Wednesday is pretty easy in downtown, but it's that Thursday, it's that Friday, it's that Saturday they get tricky. And while we've been doing the valet, that helps a little bit, at least especially with the perception. It's not even that it's used that much, but it's just knowing that you've got a place if you need to use valet. But we use the gaming funds for that. But we just worked with a company that specializes in parking called SP Plus. We're doing a study now so they can help us maximize current parking, right? It's like, where, staff at restaurants might be able to park, that's different, or looking at doing permitting for apartment folks, right? The more apartments that are coming down here, they're great, but sometimes there's struggles with where they park and they get frustrated. So finding out different ways to make permits work, and then ultimately too, we want to be prepared for that parking deck. We're not really at that critical point yet where it's like, oh gosh, we have to have it now. But when the day comes, we just want to be prepared. So we want to make sure we have the site selected and we work with the property owners and get some engineering done. So these are all things that we're trying to work towards to be prepared for when that day of critical mass comes, where it's like we really gotta pull the trigger on it. Because there's a couple other developments that we'll be talking about soon that, as they come to fruition, it won't just be a perception problem. It'll be a real problem when it comes to parking. So we're working on that. So a couple other things too is I want to talk about housing. So this year, Lance, because I've been doing this job now for 10 years, and Lance kind of just made some statistics where he looked at all 10 years since 2013. And I know JR has been with us for 8, and I think Joanne and Renee have been doing this for 8 years with us too. And, it's been interesting to watch how, we all work together. And, since 2013, we've added 650 new residences, which I think is a good pace. We didn't want to sit here and act like, oh, we're going to build Levittown and add thousands and thousands of homes every year. That's actually not the goal. The goal is to have a nice steady growth that allows people to have different kind of housing stock. And we've been doing that. And so it's very interesting. And we've got a lot of people do want to move here, man. While people are leaving Illinois, they do seem to be coming to Lockport. And so some of the new construction projects, we talked about some of these last year, but now they're really underway and getting built out. Redwood, 159 homes there, Pete. Redwood is going to be doing a ribbon cutting there real soon, but Oak Creek, Silo Bend, Clover Ridge, all moving forward and getting stuff built out and sold and rented. So it's these houses, they're really in demand. And then when we look at our old part of town, right, and existing housing, people have really been putting effort into making their homes and investing in their own homes. So we've had over 11,000 permits since 2013. And that's, you know, everything from people putting dormers on or new siding or new roofs, but not just letting their houses, you know, go to hell because they just feel like, yeah, we don't care. They've really been inspired to put money into their homes and be part of the community, and we've seen just a lot of growth when it comes to people fixing up their houses here. A new project that's getting kicked around right now is called The Springs. It would be a residential unit. You guys know where Pops is and those offices. There's kind of some back lots back there where this yellow space would be. It's not really good for commercial retail because it just drops off really steeply to the creek back there. So, but it works perfectly for some housing with walkouts. So the Springs has been doing a proposal there, but the front 4 lots we'd still leave for the commercial uses. So could be a really nice mix back there. They have a good product. So that's something that you know, is before planning and zoning and council. We're talking through the Springs right now. And then we'll jump over to our industrial growth. So we've always, as a council, tried to be thoughtful when it comes to our industrial growth, right? Obviously, Northern Will County became the largest inland port in North America, but you know, we tried to find a balance with logistics. We have turned down over 2 million square feet of logistic projects. Just because the zoning wasn't there, or recently we purchased the Chevron property so nobody could do it. But we've tried to keep a balance and tried to keep our logistics operations, which are great, by the way. One of the reasons why we have, you know, money and our property tax rate keeps going down and we were able to help businesses during COVID is because of, you know, the large buildings at ML and at Prologis. So don't get me wrong, they're good. We just need to have the right balance, and I think we've got a good balance. And with the Prologis buildings 6 and 7, we're pretty much done. All those buildings are built out on the properties that we have. Down in Prime Boulevard, we're looking at doing a manufacturing building. It does fit in the zoning, but you know, there's got covenants in there so that it can't become a logistics building. We limit the amount of high bays. But it's really about finding smaller users that just need some space to make stuff. So that's a new project that is went through a concept plan already. And then we're really excited about Homer Tree building their new building. As you guys remember, there was a really catastrophic fire there the last year. I got pictures, but they're too terrible. I didn't want to put them up there and offer to look at. But these guys have been working hard. Out of temporary trailers, and there's a picture of their new building that they have brought forward and submitted for. So we're really looking forward to seeing the Homer Tree get back into a functional building. So well done, guys. So next thing we'll talk a little bit about is commercial growth. So again, looking at since the last 10 years, we've had 280 new businesses come to town. And you mean there's a range in that. There's everything from, like, you know, a mom and pop or a one-person shop all the way up to like Julian Electric with you know 3-digit employees, right? 100 employees. So, and corporate headquarters. So I like that. I like having a town that has a breadth and gives everybody an opportunity. If you want to open a business here, you can really do pretty much everything. And so that 280 represents a whole lot of different folks. But I love this other number, man. This Lance pointed out to me is that since 2013, we've added $1 billion in construction value. I mean, that's amazing. I thought actually you could probably buy all of Lockport, Homer Glen for $1 billion. I didn't realize that. And they'd even throw in Crest Hill as like, hey, we're trying to get rid of these, we'll throw that in there. But That's crazy, man. $1 billion of construction value. So really, just amazing to see. This year we should be seeing. You see, Crumble Cookie already has their sign up. Noodles and Company, still moving forward on the new Outlaw building. So last year we just showed blueprints of this, but now they're close to being open. You guys remember Wendy's and the Wendy's things? They were fighting with Popeye's chicken. Apparently Popeye's says you can't sell more than 40% of your chicken. So they had this battle, so they couldn't open there. They're still looking around different spots in town, but at least Noodles and Crumble will be there, and there's maybe a burger place looking at one other spot inside this particular unit. Thornton's is coming along over by the highway, so people getting on and off the highway, they have easy access to the gas and convenience store there. And then Bettenhausen, man, they finally broke ground. I know this has been tough. COVID really made it hard, and then price escalation, all these things made it difficult. But Mike Bettenhausen, they finally started breaking ground out there in the back lot, and so it's nice to see that. So he's hoping to be open this year, but probably end of the year, maybe even beginning of next, because it's a pretty big building with a lot going on. So, but they have broken ground and are moving forward on that. So, very fun. I'm very glad for them. Also, some things that are coming up. We've got so there's a gas station Citgo at 151st and New Avenue. The interesting thing about that one is it's actually been in the works for 10 years. It's where the old trailer park is, has been. But so finally seeing that come up to fruition. Then there's another one up at 143rd Street, which is just north of ML Realty. Now, look, man, I get it, right? All you can do is gas station. It's not like when Lance tells me, hey, somebody submitted for a gas station. I go, yes! It's like, I get it. One of the things we did as a council, though, is we did a year ago say, look, we do want to kind of limit where they are because we were getting gas stations, wanted to go in a lot of places. And we didn't want to eat up all of our commercial corridor for gas stations. And so zoning to just intersections. So we no longer have those gas stations can be approved just along a thoroughfare. And if you ever think about State Street, that's the way it was for years. There was a gas station in front of Lock and Mule. There were gas pumps where you get your Christmas trees. That was a gas station. And even the gas stations that are still here, they're in line. So we've kind of limited them to just these corners. And quite frankly, I think that maybe there's 2 other possibilities, but I think some of the reason we're seeing these gas stations is if there are only 4 spots left. If we're going to build, we should build now. So, so those 2 are coming in, or at least the 151st one it's still got to get final approval. But Panda Express is looking at going in over by the right next to Culver's. That's been an interesting parcel. It's got 4 lots in there, but they needed to break ground on it. They got the Murphys in, but then things kind of stalled with COVID. But they're back moving forward. So Panda Express is really looking at coming in, which then will have that connection road from Culver's all the way down to Murphy. So that will also help with the other 3 lots get developed as well. So looking forward to seeing Panda kickstart that. And even we've been telling Wendy's, there's another spot over here. So that may be somewhere where we can find a home for them. So looking forward to seeing that property move forward. And then, of course, I talked a little bit about this last year, but they weren't ready for me to announce it, and that was the Summit Ice Center. So now I can put a name to it. So this is really fun. So in Prime Business Park, where the Bodome is, these folks, the Olson family, is going to do Summit Ice Center. So it'll have 2 sheets of ice. There'll actually be another dome for other training too, but it's really a special thing. And I think if you're a hockey family, man, people get really fired up about this stuff. So, and it's also going to have open skate. I know they bought all these other just ice skates for figure skating so that you could just have open skate plates, not just hockey. These guys are so excited. They bought all the equipment. They bought all the skates. They bought the rinks. They bought everything before they even had this fully approved. So they've been really excited about coming here. So we're looking forward to those folks picking up out there. The funny thing about this is so when they told me they were going to have this 57-foot, I thought, well, that's cool. I like quirky things. So I had a 50-foot hockey stick, man. How fun is that? But apparently, it got everybody in Duncan, British Columbia, like completely lost their minds because they have like the world's biggest hockey stick. And so they're like, what do you mean you're going to be taking our world record, eh? We ain't got nothing else going on, So they got really upset about this. And so news people were calling me and the mayor's calling me. And it was crazy. So I sent Mayor Michelle, I said, look, I got a solution for you. I know we're going to be like 15 feet tall or longer than your hockey stick, but I kind of a picture for her there. So I said, you guys got lots of lumber and stuff out there. So they could tie that on there and then we can all be even. But the funny thing, so I was like, when I actually was talking to them, they had their morning news people call, and it was like, well, how do you feel about this? The Illinois answer. The Illinois answer is, so we're building a hockey stick bigger than your hockey stick, and you're upset. And, how is this my problem, right? But then I was like, okay, well, I'll give you the Lockport answer. Here's the Lockport answer. Look, you're going to have a giant hockey stick. We're going to have a giant hockey stick. You know what? We actually are sister cities with Asiago, Italy, right? And we're sister cities. And one of the cool things about Asiago is that's where their national hockey team is. The national hockey team for Italy is in Asiago. And so it's a very big deal for them. So I said, look, why not we become sister cities with the two biggest hockey sticks in the world, right? And then we can all come out here when it's built and we'll do a big Tri-Wizard tournament between Asiago, Duncan, and Lockport. We'll have a lot of fun. So that's the Lockport answer. So we'll try to make the best of it for them because I can respect their anxiety in Duncan. Right? So anyways, that should be fun. Now, here's the thing, man. I don't like to celebrate anything until the ribbon's cut, right? So, but I told these guys, I told the Olsons, you got to build this now, man, because like America is on the line. So no pulling out now. All right, so some things downtown. So since 2013, we've put $450,000 in just facade grants. That's above and beyond the other help that we've done with projects, like when we helped to get this project off the ground, or we bought the empty lot. But just facade grants, people fixing up, putting new windows in, doing painting. So really helped invest with that gaming funds, which is where it all comes from, is using the gaming funds to really see a difference in downtown. So while we've been putting money into streetscape, folks have been putting money into their buildings. So almost $500,000 since 2013. And some new fun projects. You guys probably been in Crema Coffee, right? That's been a lot of fun. They've done a great job getting a building that, man, I didn't think it could be turned around. It was really a mess in there, but they've got that turned around. Even gave it a restored look. If you look in the bottom corner, that's the 1890s picture of the building. So it's really nice to see that come back the way it did. And man, Crema's just wonderful to sit in. It's going to be nicer now with the weather in that back patio. So looking forward to be able to sit outside as well over at Crema. Those two girls there was a mother and daughter. They came down from Wisconsin. So I just happened to be talking to them when I took that picture. 1016 South State, right? This has been exciting to see. So that was the picture I showed you guys last year. They had the wall up. But now it's it's a finished building and 4 apartments up there, and they rented right away. So it's got opportunities now for retail or office on the first floor, and this is where Wendy was saying earlier that's just to the south. That's where we're going to have those other little frames where artwork can be in there, so people going back and forth be able to go through there. So I mean that's actually one of the first new construction buildings in just decades, right? The money, it was never worth it to do it. You wouldn't get enough value out of it to build new, but that's changed now. So now it's actually worth it to build new construction that way in the downtown. Just update on the Tesson properties. I know this has been slow and brutal, but the folks that have all the property now assembled that they needed, because there was multiple lots back there. Their plan is still to do mixed use on the east side of the street where they have the properties, and then on the west side they're looking at doing some townhomes, which would be really nice actually for the Taft School District, because they've always been landlocked and never had any new growth. This will actually finally be a project that can add some money to the Taft School District. So that'll be nice to see. So we'll keep just plugging away as best we can on Tesson. And one of the ways that the TIF money, by the way, has helped with things like that is there was some oil tanks because he's a big gas station, but the city helped put money in a little bit TIF to do some exploration. So those are the kind of things that TIF money is really good for. Stuff that helps close the gap for developers. Don't want to spend $40,000 on to see if there's a contaminated soil. But these are things that we've been able to help with TIF, which is why we see the development we do. The property just 2 doors over, the old bowling alley, when that blew up, it had a lot of rubble still in it and a chain link fence. 10 years ago, we as a council said, look, let's buy that, clean it up, at least make it a temporary parking lot and put a decent fence up. And it served well, but it's always been for sale for the right development. Currently, it's under contract. It doesn't mean that we've approved anything. It just means that the developer who's interested in it's like, look, we don't want you to sell it from under us if we're working on a plan for it now. So we've agreed to go under that kind of a contract. So they still have to come before planning and zoning and city council. What we've always said is like, look, I don't want one of those, you see this all the time, like in Downers Grove or something, where they plop some building, multi-story building, and it looks like, the Holiday Inn Express. It's fine at the highway, but, a building with no decor around the windows, and it just doesn't work down here. So it's like you got to respect that you're going to be in the downtown. So they have their marching order. So if it doesn't come back with a way that looks like it's respectful and H&A can get behind it, then we don't have to go forward with it. But it's interesting to know again that the value is there today that they can get with rents that make building new finally a business decision that makes sense. So I'm excited about that. I still have to say though that the project that I think has got to be the most exciting project, I think next to this one, when we turned Embers around, because we bought it and then worked with the Mead brothers, the next big, building that we've had that's just been totally underdeveloped was 1000 South State. Again, in the 50s, they turned it into an office building. It used to be the Opera House with a big second story with 25-foot ceilings. They got rid of that, put a 3rd floor in, a bunch of crappy offices, and because that was the thing to do in 1951. They even covered the facade. Like if you go down there, you see that they got rid of the old plywood facade, and all the iron columns are still there. They just buried that stuff. Isn't that crazy? Like, hey man, let's just cover up these ugly iron columns, It's like, no, it just, appreciation of any of that stuff back then, which is probably why we ended up coming up with planning and zoning and H&A commissions because of that stuff, right? But today, Jed and Giadris, and Ramonas, they've bought this building. They're beginning to restore it. They brought back the 2-story windows, which you can see are in there now, which look spectacular. Eventually, you can see the picture of the old Opera House all the way on the right. It's got the cornice and all that stuff they're going to work at replacing as well. So they're really doing a great job. They were going to do a roof deck, but that was it was going to be just they had to bring in too much steel, and it just wasn't going to work out. But what they did do then instead was they went down. So you can see where that yellow line is barely behind my legs. That was where the floor was in the basement. So it was about this high. So they just went down there with jackhammers, man, and just went all the way through that bedrock. And now it's a full, 9-foot, 10-foot ceiling down there, which they really want to do something swanky down there. So it'll have its own entrance in the back. And so they're doing kind of a fun lounge in the basement. We're working toward a restaurant on the first floor. Anybody I know, I try to send over there and encourage for that. And then they'll just bring the event space back to that second floor. If all goes well, we should be able to do this presentation up there next year. That's the goal, right? Then we'll all be in one room together. We don't have to split 2 different floors, and we'll have a nice big space downtown where we can all sit together. So it's a really fun project. I think it's one of the most substantial ones down here. So very cool. Thank you to Jed and Giadris for that, and Ramona's. And then just at the end here, just closing up, excuse me, I'll just talk about the Chevron property. So we started getting developer inquiries. So as you guys remember, it was about a year ago after we purchased it, we started doing, we brought a citizens advisory panel together. We had citizens input for this. We used Stantec to come up with a a master plan to see how utilities would roll and all this kind of stuff, understood what we're all looking for as citizens. And so that's good. So we've kind of got that settled with the, the master plan, and understanding that, and I say this all the time, no master plan survives first contact with a developer, right? It's like, oh, they come in with something totally different, and you're like, okay, let's do that instead. Our biggest thing with the Stantec plan was to make sure that we don't do something that we don't want to see. And so even we're doing overlay districts, and we're starting to put staff as, so that we don't end up with logistics. If the whole council ends up, not being here in 4 years, and new folks come in and like, let's just do logistics. It's like, no, it's not going to be that easy, right? We're going to put all the, things in place that just don't allow anything to happen. We still want to make sure we retain the bottom area for our festivals. It's been nice to have it all in one big area, and the carnival will be bigger than ever this year. They're going to do a lot of great stuff. So we want to make sure we retain that. We're also still working with JJC and even the high school on doing that kind of modular, area in the bottom where there's like culinary, businesses or small users. We're still working towards that. Actually, it's one of the things we still have to petition the IEPA on. They're like, well, there used to be an oil refinery, can't have that kind of stuff. And I'm like, dude, this was the parking lot for the refinery. Nothing bad happened on this spot. So that's, Ben and I got to go down to Springfield and give somebody a blanket party to make sure we get that turned around. But really when it comes to this property, we've had some people talking about, doing solar on the far, far west side. It's kind of where the retention ponds are. That's a possibility. Actually, if we lease that to the solar field, it would bring in enough revenue to just make the whole site net neutral, because it would pay for all the maintenance of cutting the grass and maintaining those flood pumps and stuff. So again, if it could lie fallow forever, that's fine. So we're not going to do anything there unless it really benefits the city, and I don't mean financially, I mean spiritually, right? It's got to be the right thing that doesn't overwhelm downtown, that, I tell these developers when they've come in, JR and I have sat with them, it's like, look, you need to understand that you're walking distance to the downtown. There's a I&M canal path goes through your business park. We want users that would embrace that, not just see it as like something in their way. So we'll be very thoughtful about anything that would ever go there. So that's kind of the status on the Chevron property. And, really that's pretty much everything. I mean, there's always a ton of other smaller stuff and other projects that are, being put out there. The ones that I felt like have good legs underneath them, I brought to you today, are ones that have been started. But, one thing I like to think is that Lockport has been on a positive trajectory because everybody in this room and citizens out here and all the volunteers have really believed in Lockport, right? Really believed in it. And there was a time when maybe it was like, you're indifferent, or you're like, I just live here, I don't really care. But it's been something where everybody's come together. And even when it comes to staff taking care of folks who are part of the community, I remember when, Homer Tree's fire happened, we're like, well, what can we do to help, right? Can we get you in that one building over here temporarily? And, or when the fire happened in 1000 South State, and there was a bunch of really small businesses. There was a lady in there just had a photo, studio, and she needed a home. We're like, look, everybody, you can take all your stuff, put it in City Hall gym for now. If you need storage, we tried to find ways to relocate. So it doesn't matter whether you're a one-person shop or you're Homer Tree. We believe that, and that's our goal, is to have a spirit where people feel like they're being taken care of and that they're welcome here. So whether it's in residential or whether it's businesses, we always do our best. And so again, I want to thank everybody in this room for everything. Any success you see is because of all of us working together. So thank you for coming out today. God bless, be good. And is any questions? Anybody got any questions they want to throw at me? Probably everybody's like, dude, it's time to go. But that's fine. All right, you know where to find me. So go.
Thank you, everybody. One last thing, you were land-based. We got a lot of good information. The chamber events this year, we will be having a golf outing September 11th. Keep that on your calendar. Thank you. Have a good day, and thank you.